How's it going, everyone? I wanted to come on today and really just throw out my 2 cents on all this hobby gossip that's been going on for, what seems like forever now. It's been, I don't know, maybe a month or two at most, where we've been talking about all the shilling that's going on, everything that's happening at these auction houses, the recent snipe debacle with Rick Probstein, and how he was has been accused of like shilling on the platform and exposing customer data, going back to like the Dr. Beckett interviews with P Ryan and the shilling going around on all that. You've probably seen this a bunch of times. I don't need to reiterate like the exact situation, but it's been a little bit of a, let's say, dark time in the so-called hobby, as I like to call it, where I can understand where if people haven't been made aware of this, they were probably be quite upset about it, and for good reasons. And I think that's perfectly fine and valid. You should be concerned about this. You should be outraged about this. I guess for myself, being around the hobby for as long as I have, I've seen this happen time and time again. We actually devise ways as collectors to protect ourselves against shill bidding and trying to maybe look at the bid history of a certain auction, seeing if auctions get relisted, let's say, and then you can go back through the bid history and say, oh, okay, that kind of looks like it was shilled, so now I'm seeing it relisted again, so I might be a little bit cautious. Or using like bid software like snipe bid software, which is really good protection against shill bidding, because basically it's going to throw your max bid in at the last second, really avoid you getting shilled. I mean, it's not 100% way to avoid getting shilled, but it's something that you can do to protect yourself. I use a program called Gixxon. It's actually, you can go to Gixxon.com. I'll flash it on the screen and you can check that as well. But all that said, this is really not about shill bidding, and I don't want this video to be completely about that. You can go and check out all the coverage that's gone on. I think check out Dan the Cardman's recent videos. He's done a great job of it. AIH Sports. There's been a bunch of people covering it, so I don't need to go over it. Point today was to bring up another topic, which is, as the hobby appears to be getting more and more greedy, it has been for quite a while, in my opinion, but now that people are realizing that that's the direction we're going, how can we be more generous? And so recently, I actually got this amazing care package from a fellow Blowout Forum member. Actually, he is over on Instagram as well. His name is Ed. His handle on there is the Comebacker75. I believe he's like the Comebacker on Blowout as well. So we've done some deals back in the day. I had posted a Gary Harris card a couple weeks ago that I got in that I was really excited about. He reached out to me and he said, hey, I got a bunch of Gary Harris cards that a buddy of mine gifted me after he exited the hobby. Do you want them? Are you interested? I said, sure, let me take a look. He's like, no, not going to sell them to you or anything. I just want to give them to you for free. So I was like, okay, sure, no problem. We exchanged addresses and whatnot, and he sent me over this giant medium flat rate box, which when I got it, I was actually very surprised to see such a giant box, because I was like, what did I order, something off Amazon or what is this? Opened it up and it was like 25 different fairly high end and really nice Gary Harris cards, and I'll put some up on the screen here to show you that. But that act of generosity really brought me back into the fact that we can still be generous in the hobby. And back when I was frequenting like Blowout forums back in the day, and this is pre-COVID, this is pre like 2020, that happened quite a bit. Now, yeah, sure, we were still selling cards on there. We were still funding, different purchases and whatnot. So you'd sell a card so you could buy another card that you wanted. It's not all we were just giving away cards, but that happened more frequently, it seemed, back then. And I'm not saying that that's the way it is for everybody, because I know there's a lot of people that still gift cards nowadays. But that's one way you can give back. And that's not the only way, though. So, I'd say if you have like a hobby friend, or, somebody that you've met maybe in person or that you're more acquainted with, that might be a good thing. Just you got their address, ship them some cards. You got stuff laying around, maybe that's not something that you're going to keep or something that you might want to, go sell for yourself to fund other cards. Consider just giving them some cards. And like I said, that's not the only thing we can do. We can also recognize that maybe there's an auction that I saw that is fitting for somebody's PC. Give them a heads up about it. Hey, I saw this story post on Instagram and this guy had some cool cards listed. Here you go. So there's different ways to give back. And I think that's important to think about now. And it sounds dumb with the holidays and all that. And I have differing views on like Thanksgiving, but a great quote that I've heard from Wax Museum podcast, Kyle, a lot of you are familiar with him. He just did his 350th episode recently of the Wax Museum podcast, and he's transitioning from the audio version over to YouTube. That's who he is. I'll flash it up on the screen here so you can go check him out. But he said the hobby is what you make of it. And I thought that was really resonated with me, I guess. And it's very true, because if you just focus on the negative aspects of the hobby and the shilling and the scams that are going on and just really people that are mostly money obsessed, it can get you a bit down. So my suggestion is just to go out there and do something for somebody else. Take back what you want the hobby to be for you. And I'm not sitting here trying to say like you shouldn't sell cards, you shouldn't think about the values of your cards, but really when you get past looking at a card for only the value and that's all you're going to focus on, you can come back into collecting mindset. That's the mindset that I try to keep most of the time. And instead of viewing that as, oh, this is value because it's worth a lot of money, this is valuable to me more so because it brings back a good memory for me. The way I acquired it was an interesting story. It brings back some memories of the team or the player that I collect, things of that nature. So I would just say nowadays, instead of getting too down on all this stuff, just take a step back and think about what you can do to make the hobby more enjoyable. I'm suggesting being generous, helping out collectors. Maybe you go to a show and just give somebody a good deal. I don't know whether it's you're a dealer, you're just there hanging out and it goes a long way. It really does. Being generous, you'll see it come back to you. So that's really all I had to say about this. I didn't want to go on too long of a rant. I did want to also mention that nowadays I'm not doing a lot of videos. This is probably the first one I've done in like 6 or 7 months, but I do suggest you go over and check out Hoops Hobby Hangout. This is a podcast style like YouTube live that myself and a couple buddies are doing, where every Thursday, not tomorrow of course because it's Thanksgiving, but join in the week after, we do a live every Thursday evening, and I believe that's 6 Pacific, 9 Eastern. And so you can jump on the stream yourself. So we do these lives here. This is the live broadcast. I do edit the videos and then add some photos and things of that nature. And we just talk about cards, and we really just sit there and invite people to come on the stream if they want. And so we have like a QR code that you can scan. We have a link that you can click to get on the stream and just talk about cards. And was very interesting to me because it's a way to give back to the hobby instead of getting riled up about the latest, hobby gossip. We're allowing just some free flow conversation to happen and talking about cards. So I suggest you go check it out if you want. I'll probably be making some more videos as well. So this isn't, like I'm not going to come on here once. Well, I can't say that for certain. Maybe every 6 or 7 months that I do actually find the time to do this. But I did want to point that out. We do have an Instagram as well. So follow us there and just check it out. And again, just bring the hobby back to what you want it to be. So your ideal outlook about what the hobby should be, perfect. Go with that. And it doesn't have to be exactly what I said. You could form your own opinion on it. If you're more into selling cars and that's what makes you happy, cool, awesome. So anyway, hope you all have a great holiday, and I will catch you on the next one.